Welcome to the underground, you rebel scum. This is the American Expat. Now, there's been a video that's been going around the internet lately made by some DINKs. Now, I don't know, it sounds like an insult to me, but they wear the title proudly. It stands for dual income, no kids, if you're wondering. It's hard, it's kind of had me thinking lately about the meaning of life and some of the challenges facing our society, and I'd like to talk about that tonight, so stick around. Thanks for sticking with us. Now, you may have noticed that this is a live show, so please do us a favor and participate because you can. Also, don't forget to give your vote of approval or disapproval via the thumbs up button or whatever. And without any further delays, let's go ahead and get started with this. What is the meaning of life? Why are we here? It's okay to ask these questions, even if you aren't religious, even if you don't believe in God. I can't answer the question in its entirety, but I can tell you one of our purposes is to reproduce. Every living thing on this earth is designed to increase its population. This is true of all life, all the way down to the smallest bacteria. Now, I've noticed a trend in society toward selfishness, the pursuit of pleasure over all else. People have kind of become consumers who give nothing back. This is a trend that goes against nature itself. Let's face it, a couple who have the no health barriers to having kids and choose to not have kids have failed at the most basic purpose of a living organism. Now, I know there's a lot, there's a belief that's being pushed out there that humanity is bad for the planet. This idea is genocidal in nature. We cannot allow ourselves to go down the path of saying that some lives are better off not being lived. That is the path that led to Hitler. In a world with limited resources, eventually a choice has to be made. That choice is a lie, though. We have enough, and every child deserves a chance, no matter their economic background. Anyone who is concerned about resources should devote themselves to finding ways to increase production of good foods rather than calling for the end of lives, or that some lives just shouldn't be lived. Or can you imagine yourself telling a child they don't matter as much as some other child because their parents are poor? Would you really take on the role of an SS guard at a concentration camp? Because that's exactly what it is. I have a son, as many of you know, and I cannot imagine someone telling him that he isn't of value or that he has less value than someone else. It's time to start looking at people as our fellow human beings. Each and every one has value, each one purpose. It is also time for us to start fulfilling our duty to bring life into the world and pass on what we have learned so that they can build onto it. We don't progress without having future generations to build on what we have done. It's especially present in mind at this time of, Christmas and everything, to think of others. Whatever your religious background, again, even if you don't believe in God, remember that we are all fellow human beings and that we all have the same rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I'm just surprised looking around at everything that's taking place in the world right now, especially here in the United States, where there are literally people calling for genocide. I know recently it's kind of been limited to what's taking place over there in Gaza with Israel and Hamas. But there are other calls for genocide that people overlook. It comes in the form of abortion rights. And I'm not, I don't want to get too far into the weeds on this, but every time I hear this argument come up that, some people just shouldn't have kids. Some people just don't have the resources to be able to have kids and give them a good life. And I think to myself, whose place is it to decide something like that? Whose place is it to decide which lives have value and which ones are a waste? Because as far as I'm concerned, no life is a waste. And no child should ever have to face the idea or the thought that maybe their life has less value than someone else. And again, who is to decide which lives have value and which ones don't? Remember just a second ago when I was talking about the resource thing, there's a lot of people pushing this idea that there are limited resources in the world and that we don't have enough food or we don't have enough water or energy or whatever it may be to support everybody on the planet with a growing population. And that's just not true. We absolutely have enough resources. And if you're concerned about, let's say, global warming, which is, the climate change situation, believe it or not, if the planet is getting warmer, then it's actually good for farming and we'll have more food to be able to support the population. Now, I'm not advocating for, increasing the temperature on the planet so that we can have more food. I think that we do all right as it is. And we just need to stick to it. I don't see I can't imagine myself being in that place where I would think that it was my right or that I had any reason to tell someone, well, you just don't matter. We're going to be taking the resources for our people. That's a horrible thought. I mean, the world has gone down that path once before, and it's a pretty ugly thing. We need to get this under control. It's just one of the things that I've noticed that is horribly wrong in society right now, that we just don't look at other human beings as being of value or human life as having value at all. If you want to get back to this apocalyptic idea about the world, that resources are running out or whatever, and that humans are somehow the cause of it all, well, I mean, is the solution really just to get rid of people, just to have fewer people? I think that we can do better than that. We're thinking creatures, and we have the ability and the technology to fix things, to make things better, rather than saying that some people just don't deserve to have a life. And I think that we need to look into that and developing technologies that make things better for people. And we need to turn this around. I don't know how to reach people and get them to see other people as having value, but it's very important to do. Everyone you see walking down the street, even the homeless people that I know, people get really annoyed with in the big cities, seeing the homeless people, everyone has value. Everyone has a purpose. Maybe some people are struggling at fulfilling their purpose or whatever it happens to be, but they do have value. They're another human being. It's not, some pile of garbage sitting on the side of the street or something, that's another human being there. It especially bothers me when I think about the targets of this genocide in the form of, abortion rights that's taking place. When they're talking about, women having the right to choose, well, they're talking about people in the ghetto. They're talking about, these, think of what kind of a horrible life is this kid going to have? We should just, not even give them the chance to live a life. It's just a horrible thought. And I feel like so many people who advocate for that haven't stopped to give a thought about what it is that they're saying, what it is that they're buying into. And maybe if they did, they would see the horror of it, I think of my own son, and I can't imagine someone telling him that he has less value than some other kid, because of his background, because of where he comes from. That's terrifying. And I'm shocked to see that we have reached this point in the United States of America, that we're going down this road. And it's getting to be Christmas time, so I thought I would share something like that. It's about the closest thing I can think of as a Christmas message, that, we should be thinking about our fellow human beings here, and that everyone has value, and that we should be trying to make life better for everybody. Some people take that and go down the wrong path, but absolutely we need to help other people. And I'm sorry, there's some strange things going on with the analytics here. I have no idea if how many people are actually here. I know it's kind of the Christmas travel season, so I'm not expecting a whole lot of people here. I wanted to share the message anyway and do the live because, I said I would be doing live shows every Friday, and we've been kind of dropping the ball on the channel as of late, but I'm working very hard to make sure that we put it back together and make sure I'm getting the videos out there and doing the live shows and everything. And I hope that everybody gets a chance to participate and that we talk about things that actually matter to people instead of just, the news. We could talk about the news, but it's all so crazy as of late. I'm hearing about the president being now removed from the ballot in Colorado, and they're talking about doing it in California. And as much as I'd like to look at those and think, well, it doesn't matter because those states probably weren't going to vote for him anyway, that's it's kind of taking things away from everybody else who might want to vote that way. It's crazy that we've gone down this path. It's crazy that we find ourselves in this situation. And I don't know how we get back, except for the path that I'm talking about here, actually thinking about our fellow human beings, realizing that each of us has value, no matter what our background happens to be, no matter what our beliefs happen to be. Everybody is a fellow human being, and everybody has value. And we should care at least that much about each other to do something, especially this time of year. But, it looks like it's pretty slow. I see you there, Mutant Riff. Glad to have you here on the live stream at this Christmas time when everybody's very busy. I'm not sure if I'm going to be at home. Well, we're here. It's crazy, the things that have been going on here at home as of late. I've had somebody desperate for me to come back to China to help them out with their business there, to do some work. And I've been trying to get, hey, I don't want to go right now. This isn't a good time for me to be going to China all by myself. And they're just desperate. They've been trying to get me out there, and I don't know what to do about that. They're hoping that I'm going to come tomorrow, and I just can't do that. But I would almost, if I'd have gone through with whatever plans they had, I would be in China right now instead of here in the United States talking to everybody. But I'm here still, and I'm planning on staying in the United States at least for the time being, because going to China right now just isn't very convenient, especially at Christmas time. I've got all these presents that I am ready to give my son. I'm looking forward to spending the time here with him, and hopefully the other people don't get too upset. But oh man, they just don't seem to be able to take a hint. It's like, I don't want to go. I'm not going. I'm like, please, I will buy you a ticket. Please just come. Please help. And it's like, oh man, what to do? Everybody, of course, I think it got the hopes up with the in-laws. Like, yes, please come back to China, please, and bring Charlie, your son. And it's like, well, it's just not that simple. I mean, but another place with more people to care about. China. Let's see, Mutant Riff, Colorado is now spelled Colorado doo-doo. I don't know what to make of it. This is the craziest time I've ever seen in the United States. There are so many things going on in society that could be talked about, but, it's just so many things. I think it just has to be addressed one at a time, just like with these ghost jobs, for example. The government has become such a joke. I never imagined. I mean, you always hear the government people getting up there and saying like, oh, we've created all these jobs, and you're scratching your head because, there's all these people not working, and they want you to believe it's because everybody's lazy and they just, they don't care if they have to eat bugs or whatever. They're just going to sit in their little room that they have with roommates, and they're going to play video games and eat bugs rather than go to work. And I've had other people say, well, it's just not worth it to go to work, and that's why they're not working. And I'm thinking to myself, unless something has completely changed in the world, people still have to survive. I don't care what government assistance you have. You probably still have to have something coming in if you're going to not live on the streets. And, people have got to be applying for jobs, right? And then I see this article about ghost jobs and how people apply for these jobs and then no response, or they get led along. And it's like, it all makes sense now. the everything that you look at is a total scam. We're literally, well, not literally, but it's like we're living in the Matrix, you know? They have this pretend world that they feed us, and you wonder why it's not working out. You know, if there's all these companies hiring, then everybody should be getting jobs and there shouldn't be a problem. The economy should be doing well. And it turns out that it's all just one big lie. And pretty much everything now. Yeah, I mean, I never dreamed it would be the jobs, you know, like the job boards, really. The number of jobs created. I know that they do like funny games, like they'll say, look, we created these jobs when they didn't. But to actually have fake jobs, then that's what they're claiming. So Biden gets up and says we created all these jobs. And one, he didn't create any jobs. And two, they don't exist. They're not real. And that's why people aren't getting work. It's not because they want to eat the bugs. Maybe there's some people who would like to eat bugs and just sit in a room all day playing video games, smoking pot or whatever. But I just don't believe that that's everybody. I don't. It's another thing where I look at other human beings, and I have to assume that they're at least a little bit like myself. I couldn't live that way. And I don't think that anybody else could. Maybe, like I said, maybe there's some. Maybe some people don't mind eating the bugs. Compressed cricket cakes. Maybe it's flavored peanut butter flavor. I don't know. I remember a long time ago on Shark Tank, I think, they had that playing. I must have been watching that in a hotel room somewhere in Asia. Who knows where? But they had these guys trying to sell these snacks that were made of compressed, like cricket cakes or something. And I just remember thinking, like, there's no way. I don't care what flavor you put into the thing. There's no way. There's no way. I would never eat such a thing. There's just no way. But you never know. I guess they've been trying to push that for a while. No thanks to the bugs. We have plenty of proteins in the world that don't involve smashing up bugs into cricket cakes and then pretending it's a Butterfinger or something like that. I'm sorry if I just ruined candy bars and such for you, but yeah. No, thank you. And anyway, again, you know, I know there's not a lot of people out here, but I did want to get on here and do this briefly. And we've got another comment here. Mutant Riff, I'm glad you're sticking with us. I think you're the only viewer right now. Let's see. Many job advertisements are published to show existing staff they are looking, but just say they can't find qualified people to interview. Yeah, I think that they have a lot of reasons for doing it. Some people have suggested that it's, you know, for that purpose. Other times, maybe it's to make the company look like it's doing better than it is. If we're hiring, it means that, you know, things are growing, things are going on. I mean, it could be for any number of reasons. Like you said, internal purposes, keeping people on their toes, keeping the fire under them. It could be any number of things. Other people have suggested that it's keeping they like have a database of qualified people that they can reach out to when they actually are hiring. Other places, you know, they have seasonal, or they just have such turnover, like Amazon, where they just leave the jobs up there whether they need them or not, because they know they're going to need them at some point soon, because people can't work like robots, apparently. But, yeah, I guess there's any number of reasons, but, you know, the fact that it's like all of them, you know, I'm sure it's not all of them, but a significant number of the jobs that are out there right now, nobody's looking to fill them. It's bizarre to me. I have to wonder to myself, is this another one of these manipulations from the government where they get their partners in industry to help them out? Hey, look, we need to look like the economy's at least doing well. So make up a bunch of fake jobs. You don't have to fill them. Just put them up on the job boards and help us out here. Otherwise, it's going to be Donald Trump in the White House again. And so they comply and they put out these jobs and nobody's actually getting hired. It's really bizarre to me, too, because I remember recently hearing about how they're going to be cutting people. I mean, hasn't the tech sector been cutting thousands and thousands of jobs? And yet they say that there are more jobs available right now than there are people looking for work. And that's remarkable. I don't know. Maybe the jobs that they have out there are just really, really high qualifying jobs. You know, you have to have like a very specialized degree or something. And the people that are looking, the 6.7 million people looking for work, they just don't meet those qualifications. Not any of them. And that's why they can't seem to find a response to any of these job applications. Who knows? In the past, I gave up on all of that and just went out to find my own way. It's really sad that I had to go to another country to try and chase down the American dream, but maybe that's a topic for another time when there's more discussion. I really, like I said, there's so many things that I have come back and found. I don't even recognize the country in so many ways. So there's so many things that could be talked about. It just have to take the time to write it down and figure it out. Let's see. Mutant Riff, Russia hinted they are going to take over Uzbekistan now. Well, it wouldn't surprise me if, any target that they would like to take over at this point, they probably could. The United States is getting stretched pretty thin at this point with so many people we have to try and protect who can't protect themselves that, it's free game. Especially with the country on the verge of absolutely tearing itself apart, you never know. The land of the free is false advertising. It certainly is today. I don't know. I guess we're still able to get on here and speak somewhat, so there is some freedom. But then again, the internet is so manipulated that we don't reach anybody that would actually be interested in hearing what we have to say, or reaching anybody to change their mind because of the algorithms. This sickness, I don't know when it started. Some people say 2016 is when it really went into overdrive, but it's got to change. I think social media, at least with algorithms, these algorithms are absolutely destroying society. They're destroying civilization. And, leading to things like DINKs, these people that just don't want to have kids. And like I said, that's a basic, that's the basic function of every living, biological organism is to reproduce and increase their population. And here we have, people that are failing at their very most basic function. Whatever you want to say about that. It's an attack on nature. It's an attack on God. It's an attack on everything. Whatever, even if you're not religious. It's an attack on nature. That's what we exist to do. At least in part. We got to make things better for future generations. We've got to make things better by building on generations, and that doesn't happen unless there's another generation coming along. And, it just doesn't seem like a lot of people want to do that. And, the population is decreasing, births are decreasing. It's kind of alarming. I know they're trying to suggest that maybe there's something wrong physically with people nowadays. Maybe it's the forever chemicals, the plastics, something like that is causing a drop-off in birth rates. But they're certainly not helping it with these dink people and all this ridiculousness on social media. The selfishness level, I think, needs to go down. People need to grow up, and they need to start doing grown-up things, living the way that their parents lived. Maybe not like your parents, I don't know. But certainly we need to grow up and start doing grown-up things, like having a family and taking care of a family and passing on what you've learned to the next generation so that they can build upon it. And like I said, not a lot going on today because it's the holiday time, but I did want to get on here and do this live stream. But I'm going to go ahead and end it now because, actually, I just noticed something. It said that it was running advertisements just now. So if Mutant Riff, if you happen to see any advertisements, I guess you can tell us. That was kind of interesting. We've been talking maybe 20, 23 minutes, 24 minutes. Not too long, but long enough, I guess, to have advertisements run. Anyway, I better get off of this. It is later than what I wanted to do the live stream, but I had to work on the camera to get it set up just right so that we'd actually have proper color. We're going to stick to this doing videos during the week and doing a live stream on Fridays, so you can count on it. If you happen upon this later on, be sure to leave your comments. Let us know what you think about what we've had to say. Otherwise, I guess, that in the middle of a live stream. I'm surprised it popped up to say that, but anyway, hey, advertisements. I have no idea what they're advertising. Either way, I guess we'll end it there, and I will see you guys in the next one.
ไฟพะวงหลงเฝ้าสาวเจ้าบางปะกงพาหวยงงหลงเกิ